Good morning. Just want to say thank you to anyone who has been so generous, and I see my little wallet. It's like getting all these little donations, and I love it. And I'm going to use that to do something down the road in a little bit. So thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And I was thinking about, I was on Twitter today, and it looks like Bitcoin.com. So let's talk about developers, development. Bitcoin.com has possibly reconsidered their viewpoint. We haven't heard from some of the other mining pools. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. What I suggest is that developers sort of treat their development just like a company and raise funds and get involved with the community. I have this sort of perception. I was like, why don't these guys want to just come right out and say, hey, look, this is what we want to do, guys, and have a big, fist pumping session and get people excited, because the community would actually really like that. And I think that people are afraid that the bias maybe of the lead development for the main protocol wouldn't be decentralized or something like that. And maybe that's fair. Maybe that's a fair consideration. But I'll tell you what, if I was a developer, which I'm not yet, or not now, I would just talk to the community straight. Do a campaign, run the campaign for 3 months, get feedback, maybe even hire a salesman. Hire someone who can help me market, and get into communication with people. And there's also surveying people, finding out what do you think? What if this happened, then what? And then there's also the fact that sometimes people will vote for stupid stuff. And so it's not that every opinion is equally valid or equally valuable. I wouldn't say it's not valid, but there's sometimes where you got to go against the grain. Sometimes you got to go with the grain. And where do you draw the line? Do you gain your funds if a majority of miners want to force all the miners to donate to you? Do you do that at the risk of ostracizing some of the smaller mining pools that are still loyal? I personally don't think that's a good trade-off. I think that's a very bad trade-off, and I think it will be harder to welcome new miners in the future. What I would do is just look at it straight on. What's the most simple way to raise the money? How much do you need? You probably need like 10 million, 20 million. And you just do a year-long campaign, and you fucking sell it. You sell it, and the people will pay. That's where you're going to create the demand, and then supply it. Now, you got to make sure you do a great job in delivering what was promised. If you raise that money, it's such a complicated thing. I want to be clear. I'm not against these developers having any amount of money. I have no issue with that. But the means of procuring the money can have significant factors. If you go the mining route, there are unseen factors, and we don't want the unseen factors down the road to come and hit us in the face. I think we all kind of want the same thing. I think it's just how can we do it? And I think there are different ways to do it. Some ways I prefer more than others. Some ways it's clear other people prefer. So I'm trying hard to understand I'm going to try to keep on learning. But why not do a sales and marketing campaign? Why not just get enthusiastic and tell a story, survey the public, find out what do they think, and then market to that. If the public all want to do this, like, we all want to learn, we all want to scale. That's not the question. We all want to scale it. It's just how can we make sure that these important people have enough money? How much do they need? Fuck, I don't care. If they want like 50 million, fine. But let's make a real plan where we don't split up the community anymore. Because, I mean, come on. Jeez, man. I mean, I've been here in Bitcoin Cash land since the start, and you know, it's fucking crazy, man. Like, all the crazy shit I've seen all my friends, all my all my good friends, you know, they all change their mind, go on over here, and having to study the philosophy behind, you know, what's going on. And that made me interested to see, well, you know, and made me question my own particular views, you know, like with all these coin splits and everything. It made me really ask, well, what is the underlying philosophy for this coin, for the other people in Bitcoin Cash, for me personally as a human, for me as a spirit, for me economically, you know, and I had to really start asking all these questions, and I have been heavily for years now, and it's sort of like something that you have to do on your own. So I don't want to see a destabilization of the community again, because I think we have really cool, really smart people who can, you know, we need to build up excitement, build up a following, build up, just build. So I don't think the developers are trying to destabilize the coin. I really don't think that's the case. If I had the money to give them, I probably would, but I don't, and they probably wouldn't even take it anyways, because I think I know why, because they're worried that there'll be a conflict of interest. Because let's say I support all the dev projects, then if anything goes wrong, it can be pointed back to me, and it could lead to some problem. So it is better to raise the funds from multiple areas, and that's why the mining, you know, pulling the money from the miners seems so attractive. If you could find a way to agree on it, though, that wouldn't affect the unseen mining in the future, I would just not jump into that. You can already see what kind of a strange, one small change in the mining infrastructure can affect a lot of factors. I don't pretend to understand it all, and probably very few people do. Probably very few people do, but there are some. And well, for example, I was going to say one thing before I'm going long on this video, but we had a Bitcoin Cash mining adjustment algorithm, and you can see some of the issues that you have a problem, you bring in the solution, and then the solution to the problem is actually the cause of a new problem. Sometimes that's not avoidable, and sometimes you're better off thinking it through and attacking directly. I think in this case, guys, you can raise the money directly, and don't be so stoic. The developers do not need to be behind the scenes nearly so much as they think that they do. The stoicism is actually, it makes sense because you're trying to detach yourself from the community and show that you're an unbiased, as if you were like an unthinking machine. But you're not. You're a human. you have bias. But you can reason, and you can listen to things and survey things before you act. And as long as you try to do that, people are cool, you know? Now, there could also be another factor where we're under such pressure to make a decision, you know, that we don't have time for anything else. And that could be the case too. Maybe I just don't understand that. But I don't quite think so. I don't think we should rush too much. I think we can look at different options. But then again, we could all come back to the original option and decide, okay, that's the way to do it. So yeah, let me know your comments. I'm gonna post up my little my little Bitcoin Cash address below, and so whatever you want to give me, hook it up, man. And I'm gonna save up a bunch of money in there, and then we're gonna go and use it to spread Bitcoin Cash to new people. You know. Have a great day. Keep in touch. Thanks.